Us this week will mark 2 years since a mother was shot and killed in front of her children in Buffalo, a case that sparked a larger conversation about domestic violence and protections for victims.
It now has renewed attention, with Ke'Aira Hudson's family suing the Cheektowaga Police Department, accusing them of failing to step in against her alleged abuser and killer, her husband.
It was 8:30 a.m. on a cool Wednesday morning in Buffalo, New York. You're waiting at the light, the kind of mundane moment we all take for granted. Then the world goes violent, not with a simple fender bender, but with a calculated, sickening thud. That sound was a heavy pickup truck, driven by 47-year-old Adam Bennefield Sr., intentionally slamming into his estranged wife's car, not to hurt her, but to pin her, to disable her, an execution maneuver. But the tragedy doesn't stop with 30-year-old Ke'Aira Hudson slumped over the wheel. No, the horror continues with the three little eyes staring up from the back seat. Ke'Aira's young children saw their father step out of his truck, walk directly to her window, and commit the ultimate devastating act with a shotgun. The attack itself is shocking, but the true punch to the gut, the sheer, unbelievable fact that this man, this proven violent offender, was back on the street less than 48 hours earlier. Ke'Aira had contacted the police. She gave them the evidence. She told them her life was in danger. She even said about her husband, quote, "He was not done with me." Her fear was tragically validated. The central question haunting this entire story is this: how could a woman who explicitly told authorities she was going to be murdered be failed so completely? Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. 2 days before the ambush, Ke'Aira called the Cheektowaga police. She reported a brutal assault, providing them with compelling statements and video evidence. She was locked in, threatened with knives, and she genuinely believed she was going to die. To be honest, most people expect that kind of report to lead to immediate detention, right? But we need to talk about the man they took into custody, Adam Bennefield Sr. He wasn't just having a bad day. Back in 1999, he was convicted of armed kidnapping. He abducted an estranged girlfriend at gunpoint. And while awaiting trial for that, he broke out of the Erie County Correctional Facility by climbing a 15-foot wall. This is a guy with a documented extreme history of armed violence against intimate partners and a profound disregard for the law. Yet when Cheektowaga police filed the initial charges for the October 3rd assault, they went with something bafflingly soft: second-degree harassment, a violation less serious than a misdemeanor. They later added a few low-level misdemeanors because they failed to connect the dots and properly assess the extreme threat, because they minimized the clear violence. The judge was statutorily forbidden from setting bail. He was released on his own recognizance, ROR. The system had all the information to classify him as a maximum security threat. They had the history, and they had Ke'Aira's terrified testimony. They chose to ignore it. The procedural decision left a clear path for him to walk free. How is a man with a documented history of armed kidnapping and a fresh, explicit threat to kill his estranged wife treated like a minor nuisance by the justice system? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm reading every single one. If you believe ignoring obvious red flags is a crime against humanity that we need to expose every single time, hit the subscribe button now. Don't be the person who willingly misses the truth that could ultimately protect you or someone you love from a documented pattern of violence. So Adam Bennefield walks free. He's handed a temporary order of protection, a document ordering him to stay away from Ke'Aira. We know that for a high-lethality offender, a piece of paper is just a legal formality he's going to disregard. It offered Ke'Aira zero protection. But here's where it gets really interesting. Legal analysts later tore into the initial case file. They reviewed Ke'Aira's detailed statements, being pinned down, threatened with knives, feeling like she was going to die, and they determined there was probable cause to charge Bennefield with two separate, bail-eligible felonies: felony sexual assault and felony unlawful imprisonment. Most people blame the bail reform laws for this release. But what happened next is insane. The law didn't fail. The people implementing it did. Had either of those felonies been filed, the case would have been bail eligible, giving the judge the discretion to set bail and detain him. The primary fault wasn't a statutory limitation. It was the operational decision to minimize the violence through non-qualifying misdemeanor charges. Maybe you think the system is just fine. Maybe you think the systemic negligence is a fluke we shouldn't worry about. If you still refuse to subscribe to a channel dedicated to exposing these failures, then go to the comments right now and tell me why you feel secure enough to miss stories like this. I want to know your honest opinion. And if you think Ke'Aira and her family deserve justice and accountability for this catastrophic failure, hit the like button and share this video to keep this conversation going. It's the least we can do to elevate her voice. That initial administrative decision, the failure to file the right charges, created the window. The 48 hours were up and Adam Bennefield was driving toward the intersection of Richlawn and Shawnee. When the justice system is legally constrained by low-level charges, but the evidence supported felonies, what is the moral cost of that administrative choice? Bennefield didn't waste his opportunity. That Wednesday morning, he didn't just stumble across Ke'Aira, he tracked her, disabled her car, and committed the act of execution. It was a cold, calculated crime that confirmed Ke'Aira's final, terrified warning. The subsequent trial was swift, shockingly short at only 3 days. But the evidence was overwhelming. The key evidence included the brave testimony of Ke'Aira's daughter. Her strength and courage were commended by the court. But the final, sickening clue that confirmed his motive? Found in Bennefield's truck, police discovered court papers detailing a family court appointment scheduled for the next day, October 6th. He eliminated his estranged wife to prevent her from participating in pending legal action against him. This story is a tragic lesson, not just a horror show. If you or someone you know is in a relationship where you fear for your life, where threats or physical violence have become knives and kidnapping histories, you must recognize the lethality risk. First piece of advice: have a safety plan that involves trusted friends or family who live outside the area, and never rely on an order of protection as your only physical barrier. Second piece of advice: if you feel compelled to leave, utilize the resources like the National Domestic Violence Hotline. They can walk you through the lethality assessment checklist Ke'Aira's police should have used. Imagine the silence in that courtroom when Ke'Aira's daughter took the stand. What emotional weight does a child carry when they have to face the man who did that to their mother? When a system fails this badly and the victim is gone, is prison time for the killer enough? Or should we be looking at the officials who minimized the violence in the first place? Let me know your honest thoughts below.
A man accused of killing his wife facing a judge this morning. Adam Bennefield faces murder, child endangerment, and criminal contempt charges. He is accused of killing Ke'Aira Hudson in front of her 3 children. That was just after Bennefield was arrested on domestic violence charges the day before, but released. This case shining the spotlight on bail reform.
The state of New York versus Adam Bennefield.
The man accused of killing his wife earlier this month was arraigned Friday morning. 45-year-old Adam Bennefield is charged with killing Ke'Aira Hudson in front of her 3 children.
Mr. Bennefield has been indicted by a grand jury of Erie County.
Bennefield faces 1 count of murder in the 2nd degree, 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child, and 1 count of aggravated criminal contempt for allegedly violating an order of protection.
People's position. Your Honor, as I'm sure everyone's aware, the allegations contained in this indictment are horrifying. They are the stuff of nightmares.
Bennefield pleading not guilty before State Supreme Court Justice William Bowler, who ordered him to be held without bail.
He was remanded, continued to be remanded. He faces, obviously, 25 years of life in prison if he is convicted.
This case shining a spotlight on bail reform because Bennefield is accused of killing Hudson 1 day after he was arrested and released in connection to an alleged domestic violence incident.
The charges were correctly charged, and the judge, again, had no choice but to release this person.
District Attorney John Flynn renewing his call to review recent bail reform laws.
The specific solution is that we give judges the ability to factor in dangerousness when they are assessing bail. Insert 1 simple sentence.
Governor Kathy Hochul fielding questions Friday about bail reform and this case.
We did make targeted changes to the bail laws. I think that is absolutely overlooked in this heightened political atmosphere where everything's supercharged. I don't think that's the answer. The answer is to make sure that a woman like that poor woman, has the support system she needs, has the ability to get an order of protection.
When I spoke with Ke'Aira Hudson's family the day she was killed, they told me not only did she have an order of protection, but she was also wearing a bulletproof vest.
Because, Mom, he's going to kill me. You don't understand. He smashed into the front of her car in front of a school bus and got out the car with a shotgun and shot her and pulled off.
Not only was there an order of protection issued, a safety plan was issued as well to have her move out of the home and into her mom's house. But obviously the safety plan didn't work either.
The district attorney says Ke'Aira Hudson's 3 children are doing well considering and staying with family members. Bennefield is scheduled to be back in court November 2nd.
The jury returned a verdict in about an hour. Guilty on all counts. Murder in the 2nd degree, aggravated criminal contempt, and 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. On November 20th, 2024, Adam Bennefield Sr. was sentenced to the maximum 25 years to life in prison. State Supreme Court Justice M. William Bowler delivered a stark condemnation of the murder, even ordering the defendant to, quote, shut up during the sentencing. Ke'Aira Hudson's estate has since filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the town of Cheektowaga, alleging that the police were reckless and negligent in failing to properly charge Bennefield and knowingly ignoring his violent history. The ultimate failure rests on a choice: the decision to classify a high-lethality threat as a non-qualifying misdemeanor, allowing a killer the opportunity to complete his predetermined act.
It was October 5th, 2022. You may remember this, when Hudson was shot in her SUV on the corner of Rich Lawn and Shawnee Avenue. Her husband, Adam Bennefield, was arrested a week later, charged with 2nd-degree murder. I was there moments after she was killed, and her family told me that the day before her death, Bennefield was arrested for allegedly punching and kicking her in their Cheektowaga home. We're told he was released that same day, and her family blamed bail reform for that.
The lawsuit filed by Hudson's mother Tuesday accuses the town of Cheektowaga and its police department of failing to properly charge Bennefield and keep him behind bars. That lawsuit says this gave Bennefield the opportunity to kill Hudson the next day.
So tonight we're taking a look back at the day Hudson was killed. I spoke with her sister then about Ke'Aira and her efforts to escape her abuser. Plus, I'm giving a voice to a survivor of domestic violence and those working to help people in abusive relationships. It was 2 years ago this week when Ke'Aira Hudson was shot and killed in her SUV in front of her 3 children. Her family told me that day it was her husband, Adam Bennefield, who shot her after a long history of domestic abuse.
She's just been trying to get help. I've been with her, going to police stations. She's been texting me, sending me videos.
Montasia Jeter told me back then her sister was so scared she put on a bulletproof vest before leaving her mother's house in Cheektowaga to take her kids to school.
He must have been stalking her. My mom asked her, why are you putting that vest on? She said, because, Mom, he's going to kill me. You don't understand. And as soon as she went around the corner, he killed her.
Now, 2 years later, Ke'Aira's family filing a lawsuit against the town of Cheektowaga and its police department, claiming numerous warning signs were ignored. Meanwhile, this case continues to raise awareness about domestic violence.
What we have to remember is Ke'Aira was a human being. She was the daughter. She was a mother.
Catherine Miles Kenya is the CEO of the Family Justice Center, working to help victims of domestic violence.
Well, people in our Western New York area might not know Ke'Aira. They know Ke'Aira's story, but they also have to know that abuse is happening everywhere. It does not discriminate.
The Family Justice Center provides services including help with legal support, finding a shelter, and filing charges.
It's difficult to reconcile the level of violence that we're seeing, the level of injury, the level of hurt and pain. It's also hard to reconcile broken systems that people are navigating.
Ava Thomas knows what it's like to navigate the system. She is a survivor of domestic violence herself.
I tried to navigate everything on my own, keep everything a secret. It nearly cost me my life.
She says she got several orders of protection in different cities and towns.
The initial order that was granted, he broke that several times. I reported it. You report it to whatever jurisdiction the incident happens in.
Her abuser eventually went to prison, and Ava is now working at the Family Justice Center, hoping to prevent more tragedies like what happened to Ke'Aira. The day she was killed, her sister told me it was the system that failed their family.
She said if anything ever happens to her, she would not rest in peace.
The tragic death of Ke'Aira Hudson has since become a powerful paradigm in the ongoing public discourse regarding criminal justice reform and the urgent necessity for comprehensive risk assessment training. Our hearts go out to the children and family of Ke'Aira Hudson, who showed incredible strength throughout this tragedy. Adam Bennefield silenced Ke'Aira Hudson. Don't let her story be silenced. If you stand against this kind of evil, against the minimization of violence and the failures of the system, share this video and hit that subscribe button now to ensure the true crime footprint of systemic negligence is never forgotten. To everyone who made it to the end, thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.